Loving woman is not a mistake. Never, never, never. Especially if the woman loves you back. And we were like that. County Cullen says the following in a poem that you loved. From the Dark Tower. It is a painful thing to think how in our country at this time, those who control our diamonds, our gold, our platinum, whatever they control, do not look at the social fabric of this country. From the Dark Tower. It's a long poem. I won't do it now. But I want you to know there's something inside us that is also outside of us. And how it got there, we do not know. We only know that some people are born to be messiahs. Some people are born to heal the wounds of others. Little Jesus came and they knew him not. They loved him not. When Pontius Pilate said, I see no greed, no wrong in this young man. What must I do with him? A voice in the cloud said, crucify him. Today we crucify ourselves. And he never liked it. You never liked what was happening and is happening in our country. And it is time for us to say, Hugh Masekela, you went out of your way to heal our wounds with your singing, your life. Now we must have the legacy of a nation that works to heal its people. Because there is no pain quite like being unloved, unwanted in one's land among one's own people. There's no pain like that. 50 million people sleeping in the streets of this country. We have to regenerate ourselves. This is the only country that we have. In the name of God, in the love of you and many others, let us work to save our country. Because there is no pain quite like being unloved, unwanted among one's own in one's own land. Will the tumor in my fevered mind ever cease its violent throbbing? Will laughter ever flow from the vein of my pen? Because, people of South Africa, Azania, we have to take what you left us. The legacy of caring, the legacy of giving for his sake. God bless you. I'll cut myself short, but say to you, there is no country like this one. There is no country like this one. Almost 300 million people in this country at this time. May God bless the Masekela family. May God bless our people, our leaders. Open up their minds, because I'm not looking at death, but hey, it comes when it comes. God bless you.
Don Matera, ladies and gentlemen, Brazinga to some of us. The next speaker will be from the industry, from the music industry. Sam Mangwana would represent the industry. Thank you.
Makubenjalo, Makubenjalo. kuze kube kun. Can we stand up and sing this song for Prayu? Kuze kube kuna, kube njalo kube njalo kube njalo, kuze kube kuna. Thank you very much. I would like to say thank you and condolences to the family of Masekela and all protocol observed. You know, I grew up in Alexander. I went to school in Alexander. I played my soccer in Alexander. I did everything here in Alexander, so it is nice for me to see that today I come back here because Brayo is here. At no stage did I come to Alexander. I know I do come with little things like funerals and all that. I represent the music industry. I come from all the promoters. I represent all the music promoters or event coordinators. As you know, we as promoters, we cannot do without musicians. That's why today, as I sit and think, I say, hey, you know, in this world, things happen for a good reason. I remember when I thought of doing the show, tribute concert, Moretele Park tribute concert. When I grew up, for some reason, I don't know, I used to like the music of Miriam Makeba, Hugh Masekela, Jonas Gwangwa, and all that. So, because I had a liking for their music, and as I grew up, and the time came when they were supposed to come back to South Africa from exile. And my dream was to say to myself, when these guys come back here, we must keep the legacy of their music. But the question I was asking myself is, how are we going to keep the legacy of their music? And one day, a dream came to me to say, you can only keep their music by creating a platform for them to showcase their talent. You know, most of you know, I come from the background of theater. I'm a playwright. I did plays like Bo and Faithful Woman. And I come from the era of Unfaithful Woman. Sometimes it pleases me for me to see somebody says to me, Watswa Prasem, I got married to my wife because I took out my girlfriend, and from there, it was history. But I ask myself today, do we still have that? Do we have a situation whereby people can go out and all that? I know because of the crime and all that, we can no longer do that. So when Bo Prayu and Bo Kaifa Siminya came back from overseas, because I wanted to create a platform for them, I wanted to meet them and make sure that I can create a platform for them. I went to various of them. I don't think they will remember. But one incident I will remember is that I wanted to meet Sis Miriam. And when Miriam came, I heard that she was going to have a meeting with some guy at the President Hotel in Johannesburg. Because I wanted to meet this woman, I've heard her music for years and years. And because I wanted to say to her, not only do I like your music, but I want to promote you. I know she had a meeting for 1 o'clock with some promoters. And I went to wait for her to finish the meeting. I think we waited from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. But the other thing I remember is that because I waited there and I had parked my car at GP Street, I'm sure she came back at 5 o'clock, 5:15, we met for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, I was happy. I had met her, I only told her, Sis Miriam, I want to keep the legacy of your music. Can you allow me? I don't have money. Can you allow me that one day I must promote your show and so that the people of South Africa can listen to your show? And she said, yes. Let's continue talking. I went to the other musicians too. I said, I want to keep the legacy of your music. I remember the first show we did at Orlando Stadium. But because I had the passion and I believed in the dream I had to say, we are going to create a show that is going to showcase their music, I did not give up. You know, when I did the show at Orlando Stadium for the first time, when we called it South African Music Heroes Concert, I'm sure I must have had 5,000. And I went to them one by one. I said, guys, I want to put up your show, but mina angnai man, I put anayona man. And they said, now, Brasem, how are you going to pay us? I think the sponsor we had for the first time was one sponsor, and De Beers Diamonds Company. When they heard that we wanted to do this show, they were interested. I remember they gave us 50,000. And as I met with the various musicians to say, I want to do this show, they said, Brasem, but you are paying us little money and you say you don't have money. I say, I took out a receipt and a letter from the sponsor to say they are going to sponsor us for 50,000. They said, is that all you're having? I said, yes. When this show is a success, we are going to share the money. You know, I've never had time to say to Bra Kaifas, to say to Bra Jonas Gwangwa, to say to Ausleta Kaifas, Leta Mbuli, and to Bra Hugh Masekela. We had a meeting. You remember we had a meeting at the hotel one day, and you said, Brasem, tell us how much money do you have to put up this show? And I said, this is the money I have. It was 50,000. And these guys are top names. But one thing I appreciated is that they said to me, Brasem, we are giving you our blessings, and I've never had time to thank them and tell them that that day when we met and you gave me your rights and your permission to say, put up this show, that is the day you made my name. After the show, we had 5,000 people at Orlando Stadium. And you must know, people don't like going to Orlando Stadium for some reasons. Then after the show, we did not make the money we were supposed to make. But one thing I want to thank these great musicians. I went to them and said, the money I made is this one. So what was happening at the end, I was owing all of them, Brayu, Kefas, Jonas, Gwangwa, and all that. But what was good from their hearts, they said, Brasem, you've got our blessings to go on with this show. Pay us whatever you have. And the other money that you're going to owe us, you will continue to pay us. You can imagine. But what was good about them, you know, most of the musicians, when you are a promoter and you do a show, if you don't pay them after the show, anything and all that. But they did not do that. And I continue to have the feeling that I can do the show. From there, it was 1998, 1999, we went to Pretoria to do the show. And the show continued. And there's another day I want to remember. we were doing the same show in Durban. And that day, I will never forget, it was raining. It started raining from 5 to 8 in the morning. I've never seen that rain in my life. And I don't want to see that rain in my life as a promoter. So, yeah. So when it was raining, 1 o'clock, you know when it was raining, habari pula ya mudupi, neili pula ya mudupi. I was sitting there, I'm worried. I say, hey, you know when we hire artists, we'll say we'll give you, take 50%, we'll give you the balance at the end of the show. 1 o'clock, it's raining and people are not coming. Bo Brayu, Brakaifas, it was Brayu and Brakaifas, Brajonas. They come, they looked for me. And when they find me sitting at the backstage, they said to me, Brasem, we are aware that you are worried that we won't perform because there are no people in the show because of the rain. We are not going to blame you for this rain. Relax. We are going to make sure that your show goes on, and they performed for that day. I think they must have performed for maybe 2,000 people. I want to say to them today, if you had not given me an opportunity to say you are going to perform, whether there were people or there were no people, the show of tribute concert would not have survived. This year we are going to celebrate 20 years of the tribute concert, and I want to thank all these great musicians, and I want to ask you to give them a very big hand for having given me a chance. In this world, if somebody does not give you a chance to do something, sometimes you give somebody 5,000 and say, do that. If you don't give them a chance and help them, they will never start something. Today I've started a show which we hire so many artists and people go to the show every year and so many musicians are hired. So gentlemen, I want to say, let me just say this maybe. I want to say I thank you for the gesture, Brayu, and the family of Brayu. I want to thank him in his absence, that he gave me an opportunity to say, continue, Brasem, we will perform the day you get the money. You will pay us. The day you get, how many people have you said to them, do something, and the day you have the money, you'll give me the money? People don't give you a chance in this world. And I want to say, yeah, our time is up, yeah. I want to say to the government, you are not doing enough to promote the culture, the cultural aspect of South African music, theater, and everything. That is why our children today, they can't go out and say, they can't do that. And we grew up in the time people would go out and see unfaithful women and come back being happy. The last thing I want to say is that I want to say to Brayu, at one stage I was given a privilege to work with Brayu. I remember, I'll mention two instead. We went to Kenya. And when we were in Kenya, when Brayu was still taking his own things, and then time came, Brayu supposed to go on the stage. He finished. Ha finisha Ramata Remufumane. Later on, 11 o'clock, he goes to the show. And the following day, we had a meeting to go and meet disabled people. So I said, Brayu, but where were you? He said, hey, Brasem, I have a problem. So I forgot that I was going to do this. And that is why, when we came back after some years, he said to me, Brasem, can we work together? I want us to start a show that will say to the youth of South Africa, that will say to the musicians of South Africa, they must not follow in my footsteps, because I got hooked in this thing and it nearly messed up my mind. Let us remember him for that. Yeah. And the other thing I want to remember. Yeah, okay, yeah, no, sorry. I'll tell you some other time. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry to have broken your thank you.
Thank you, Brasem. A round of applause for Brasem. Yeah. I always thought I was influential. I could get some people off the stage, but I failed this time. My apologies. Now that he's quoted Kenya, I'd like to quote the President of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, who was a great friend of Hugh Masekela. And he says, and I quote, "Hugh gave the world reason to dance." With those words, I'd like to call Dorothy Masuka to come to the fore to pay tribute to Hugh Masekela. Please give it a round of applause. Welcome, sis. Do you want to cheer or do you want to hold it or is I?
Barbara, sawona mntanam. Sanibona abantu be-Alexander. I'm not going to take much of your time. I'm not a speaker, I'm a singer. And I'm a songwriter. Whew, Mickey. So, uhambile. Uyu ebemncane kunami. Because the time I started performing in this country, Hugh was still at school. Kodwa ngazomva esecula nabo Jonas ku Father Huddleston Band. Dachazwa yi-sound yakhe. Damcela ukuba makangene ku African Jazz and Variety. Waza-ke saqala ukuhamba South Africa. We traveled this country, the whole of South Africa, with African Jazz and Variety. Nala ekhaya Alexander Dark City sasiperforma la. Masagcina ukuzoperforma la when angisayazi ne ihall ye cinema ikuphi somewhere ne saphuma lapho sigijima sangena ngaphansi kwamatafula nabo sisdoli kwakunzima. Anyway, to cut the long story short, I am saying to you, my brother, rest in peace. Wherever you are, when you reach the destiny where we all have to be some days. Bingelela bonke abantu. Ngifuna ungibingelele uMiriam, hug her for me. Abo Sistandi, abo Sech, abo Victor, yonke la gang. And of course, boss were African Jazz and Variety, because that is the man who introduced black artists in this country to the white public of South Africa. Abo Sech, abo Mang, ikenge kaofela. And I am one of the people who is very, very lucky that I had a person like young Hugh Masekela who recorded some of my songs which I wrote when I was young. Kaoleza, Hamba Nontsokolo. So people, they called me Nontsokolo in the Cape. Nala ekhaya, they called me Nontsokolo. And ukaoleza mama is because beslale Pimvili, apa abo anti bebe mbabe mbela isiqoko lesimbele phansi bese kuyathi abekukuku amapolisa bangayiboni lento ukuthi ifihlwe kuphi. Dasho ndathi khawuleza mama khawuleza khawuleza mama khawuleza nanga maphoyisa yangena endlini khawuleza 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 mama khawuleza. Thank you very much. Thank you, Siyabonga. Hugh, uhambe kahle mntanami. Farewell, hamba kahle Hugh, hamba kahle. Hamba kahle mntanami.
I would have loved her to sing some more. But in any case, it's time for music now. Please put your hands together to pay tribute to Hugh Masekela, Prince Linwasa, Victor Masondo, Johan Tetwa, Godfrey Mgina, saying Hambagash.
Mafrika dumelang. La ga ntate Masekela. Kagiso yonelelong. Do you recognize? One of the most generous people I know is Hugh. I'm dressed like this today because once he said, well, you're going to conduct my boys, so you have to look the part. And today I want to pay tribute to him by doing a little medley. We'll end with Hambagash. But I would like to do Mamushaba, which is a song of his grandmother. And also say, Relebogile Tata, Kasawur's related song. Thank you.
A beautiful musical number there.